What's up, y'all? It's Dr. Paul with a CGC submission video for Liberty Hill Comics, where I share my passion and over 40 years experience comic book collecting, investing, and conservation with you. I took the opportunity of attending the Collector Summit in Dallas, Texas, hosted by Fanalytics and on-site at Heritage Auctions, to submit some books to CGC. It turns out CGC made a late decision to have a booth to accept submissions at the Collector Summit, so I was scrambling a bit the week of the show to get my books together for submission. I thought I'd use the opportunity of my submission to share with those of you that might be considering submitting books to CGC, how I do it, and some pro tips on how to get the best outcomes on your submission and create the most equity for your collection. With that in mind, let's start with my drop-off at the Collector Summit, then we'll review the details after the drop-off. Please excuse the noise, we were on a con floor. Alright, what's up y'all? It's Dr. Paul, Liberty Hill Comics. I am at the Collector Summit. We're at Heritage Auctions, and we're at CGC's booth. And I'm subbing some books today. This is
Erica.
Erica. She's a CGC associate.
Customer service. Yeah, I work customer service, but I do shows.
Awesome. Thank you. So she's helped me put together my submission for today. So I filled out the forms online before I got here, and we're submitting books for 4 tiers. And unfortunately, we're submitting books. There's 13 here. And I struggled with this. I thought, like, Thorne and Company had to have The Hobbit because 13 was unlucky. But I just went with it. I think we're going to be lucky. So we have some books we are reslabbing. Here's A Strange Tales 110 that I dropped during my move. So this is going to be reholdered. And then I have 3 pedigree books. And the reason I'm reholdering these is because this is the old pedigree label, which is frankly lame compared to the new one. Yeah, here it is. The new one is so beautiful with this gold and black. And so by subbing these for reholdering, we're going to get the gold and black.
Exactly.
So this is Green Lantern 13 from the Crippen pedigree. And we have Plastic Man number 19, also from the Crippen pedigree. And we have Flash number 81. This says D copy. That's the old designation for Crippen pedigree. So we're going to have 3 Crippen pedigree books.
Nice. It's going to look super good together.
Right? I'm really excited about those. I want to see those come back in the black and gold. And then we have a few other books that we have some. This is modern tier books. This are high grade books, high value we call them. This is friend of the channel, the Franklins own this book. A couple of the All-Star books that you saw in my top 20 All-Star for my All-Star collection. I'm super excited to get these slabbed. Then they're going to go in my registry collection, so I'm excited about that. And then this is a book everybody on the channel knows. The America's Best Comics, that number 12 from 1945 with this great war effort cover that I conserved. And for those of you that want to know, this is what I do. When I do conservation, I sub it to CGC. I include notes. I think that's best practice.
We love that. We love that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your help today. When am I going to see my books?
Your modern books are going to take about 25 business days. Your high values are going to be back to you within 10. And then your vintage is going to be a little longer, about 30 business days.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks again to Erica and the folks at CGC for a smooth and pleasant submission experience. Now let's break down what I dropped off and why and how knowledge of CGC's submission rules can help you maximize return on your slabbing investment. Firstly, let's discuss dropping off at a comic convention versus mailing in. There are a few advantages to dropping off at a convention. Namely, you don't have to box up and ship your comics to CGC. You just take them the raw books in bags and boards, you drop them off and walk away. This is a money saver if you happen to already be going to the convention, of course, because you don't have to pay for shipping and perhaps even more importantly, insurance to CGC. This submission had several books worth $1,000 to $2,000, and insurance would have been a not insignificant part of my overall cost for the submission if I had mailed them in. My time is also valuable to me, and packing everything up safely and securely takes an afternoon for me with a submission of this size, and of course, there are some material costs for boxes, bubble wrap, tape, and the like. So I probably saved about $100 in shipping, insurance, and materials, plus an afternoon of my time, which is a big pro to doing an in-person drop-off. The only real con to dropping your books off at a convention is that if you are in an extreme hurry, it does take them a bit longer to receive your books at CGC headquarters. The CGC customer service folks need to pack everything up and ship it back to Florida. That tends to take a week to 10 days and can take even longer. So keep that in mind if you happen to be on a tight schedule. Overnighting your books to CGC will net you a few days. Regarding CGC submission strategy to maximize value, although my drop-off looked like one submission, CGC treats it as 4 separate submissions because they treat comic books submitted to different tiers as different submissions. So technically I had 4 submissions to CGC as they count them: modern, high value, vintage, and reholder. There is a $5 base fee for each submission, so if you're on a tight budget, you want to maximize the number of books you submit at a time because that $5 applies whether you're submitting 1 book or 100 books. It also matters for shipment back to you. All of your books will be shipped back to you by tier, no matter when they get finished grading them. So I'll be receiving 4 boxes back from CGC. And you pay for the return shipping, and the maximum number of books CGC will ship back to you in 1 box is 25 slabs. So if you are on a tight budget, you should send them books in multiples of 25 per tier. It will save you quite a bit on return shipping. I didn't have time to put together 25 books per tier, and for some tiers I didn't have 25 books to sub anyway. But I was saving on the front end with shipping, so I pulled together as many books as I could in the short amount of time I had. Let's go over each tier. I had 4 books for Reholder High Value. These were Strange Tales number 110, of course first appearance of Doctor Strange, it's Universal 6.0 with off-white to white pages. Unfortunately, this slab was a casualty of my move late last year. I dropped it while holding a handful of slabs and put a nasty crack in the front, so obviously wanted to get it put into a shiny new case. Next up, I had 3 Golden Age pedigree books, 2 of which I've done unboxings for on the channel, and 1 of which will get an upcoming unboxing video. As I mentioned in the video, these were all slabbed before CGC moved to the stunning gold and black for pedigree labels, so I'm re-slabbing these purely for aesthetic reasons, although if I were looking to sell, I'm betting these will fetch a higher return in the gorgeous black and gold label than they would in their old slabs. Total cost for 4 reholders, unlimited value, is $50 each, plus the $5 for the tier, plus return shipping, which I'm estimating at about $20. So cost per book for reholders is about $56 each. Next, I had 2 older books that I subbed to the vintage category. One of them is a copy of Hulk number 180, the first appearance of Wolverine, that belongs to friend of the channel Tony Franklin, that I'm going to do an upcoming conservation series on, focused on the decision process of when to do a full conservation and when you should just do a simple clean and press. The other is the America's Best Comics number 12 Golden Age War Effort book that I did a full conservation video series on, which you can view by clicking the link to that playlist. This came to me from Lone Star Comics in a 1.5 restored, so it will be interesting to see how it comes back with the full conservation and the restoration removal. I'll be doing an unboxing video when I get these 2 back, which should be the last video for each series. I decided to try to sneak both of these comics into the vintage category because frankly the fair market value of each is probably pushing the $400 maximum for the vintage tier, but I've found it's a reasonable gamble to try to do so. The per book fee for vintage is $37, while the per book fee for high value is $85. That's almost $50 savings per book when you can pull it off. You're estimating the grade anyway, and you could be wrong. The worst case is CGC bumps you up a tier, which is what you really would have paid anyway. I estimate the Hulk 180 at about a 4.5 after the clean and press I performed, and the America's Best comics in the range of a 4.0, give or take a half point, because estimating conserved grades is more difficult than universal grades because it's a bit more subjectivity to grading the conservation. That probably puts the fair market value of each around the $500 to $600 range, not high enough for CGC to bump them up a tier in my previous experience, but we'll see. Total cost here is $74 for grading plus the $5 tier fee plus $20 shipping back to me, for a total of about $50 per book, unless they get bumped up a tier. I had a modern submission of a few books for friends that I'm not going to go over in detail, so that leaves us with the most exciting submission, the high value submission. I subbed 4 books total. One is an Edge of Spider-Verse #2, the first appearance of Spider-Gwen, that I cleaned and pressed for the Franklins that I think has a really good shot at coming back as a 9.8, which puts the fair market value likely around $1,000. Next up are 2 raw All-Star comics that you saw in my recent All-Star Top 25 video series. Click the link in the upper right if you want to watch those videos. I'm estimating them at about 7.0 to 8.0 range for both, keeping my fingers crossed because they'll be entered directly into my CGC registry collection as soon as I get them. Fair market value on these is going to be in the range of $1,500 to $2,500 each, depending on the grade. We'll do an unboxing video for those as well when I get them back from CGC. Issue number 28 I purchased from Lone Star Comics about a year ago, and I did an unboxing when I received it. I'm interested to see how the grade they assign to it will compare with the one back from CGC. Watch the unboxing video for that comic if you like to prepare for the upcoming video. Lastly, we have perhaps the most interesting submission, the Tales to Astonish number 44, first appearance of the Wasp, that was a PGX 6.5 universal with off-white to white pages. I cracked it out of the case, cleaned and pressed it, and while doing so discovered what I believe to have been some restoration work that PGX did not detect. Although I'm virtually certain that this book has a reglossed front cover, I've decided to submit it to CGC, even though that is probably not financially the most prudent step, because I want a qualified third party to evaluate the book to validate my assessment that the front cover has been reglossed. And I think if it comes back as I expect, it will be a good cautionary tale for my viewers. I estimate this book coming back as a 5.5 restored, even though I acquired it as a 6.5 universal. I'm splitting the difference here on the high value tier. If the book is not restored, it's worth quite a bit more than the $1,000 ceiling for high value. But if it's been restored, as I suspect, then I probably could have subbed it to the vintage tier and saved myself a few bucks. Cost for submission this tier is $85 per book, plus the $5 tier fee, plus shipping back to me of approximately $20. That comes out to about $90 per book. I hope you enjoyed this video on submitting comic books to CGC in person. Did I miss any good pro tips for the process? What do you think about the grade estimates? Let me know in the comments below. Watch for the results back from CGC and some upcoming videos. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, take care of one another.